Hello and welcome to the International Daily Roundup by People's Dispatch, where we bring you major news developments from around the world. On November 19th, the residences of several members of social movements, student organizations, and trade unions in Colombia were raided by the national police. The operations were carried out 48 hours ahead of the national strike called on November 21st against the neoliberal measures that President Ivan Duque seeks to impose. The searches were carried out in the cities of Bogota, Cali, and Medellin. The Movement of Victims of State Crimes, MOVIS, said that the raids were supposedly carried out in order to find evidence for mobilization this Thursday. MOVIS also reported that the police officials checked their cell phones and copied their contact numbers. The Central Union of Workers, a national trade union, said in a statement that the police arrived at the home of social leaders and activists with search warrants for investigations related to trafficking and manufacturing of explosives and terrorism. In addition, according to the Corporation for Judicial Freedom (CJL), in cases of raids at the home of student leaders, the security forces did not present any warrant, nor did they allow family members to record the procedure. Social movements in Colombia condemned the persecution of members of social organizations and also criticized the Duque government's bid to stop and intimidate those who would take to the streets on November 21st. 2 civilians were killed and 3 injured in Israeli airstrikes in Syria on Tuesday night, the Syrian government news agency Sana reported. The airstrikes targeted a town on the outskirts of the capital Damascus. Israel claims that they were in retaliation for 4 rockets which were intercepted by its air defense systems over the Syrian Golan Heights that it occupies. The Syrian air defense systems were able to shoot down most of the Israeli missiles over the capital Damascus. One of the missiles completely destroyed a residential building in the town of Sasa, southwest of Damascus, killing 2 civilians and injuring several others. Another missile attack on a residential building in Kutsaya, west of Damascus, injured a girl inside. Israel has carried out hundreds of airstrikes in Syria against Iranian and Syrian targets in what it claims are its attempts to prevent Iran from establishing and maintaining a permanent military presence in Syria. And in our last story, thousands of Iraqis continue to gather in large numbers in Baghdad and other cities as part of anti-government protests. On Monday, they blocked the entrance to the main commodities port in the country and stopped staff and oil trucks from entering the port. This led to a 50% drop in operations. Close to 320 people have been killed so far since October 1st and 15,000 injured. Protesters also blocked the entrance to the Majnoon oil field in Basra, which is responsible for close to 80% of Iraqi oil exports. Many schools and government offices in cities in southern Iraq were also shut after calls were given for a general strike. The Qasr commodities port was last blocked by protesters from October 29th to November 9th. The port was briefly open for operations from November 7th to November 9th. The blockage of the port has cost Iraq an estimated $6 billion during the first week of its closure. Labor unions in Baghdad marched to central Tahrir Square and joined thousands of protesters who have gathered there since October 24th. Iraqi security forces have cracked down harshly on the protesters, using live fire, stun bombs, and heavy-duty tear gas canisters, which has resulted in hundreds of deaths and thousands of injuries. The protests are against the country's existing political elite, massive corruption, a lack of jobs, and inadequate reforms. That's all we have in this episode of the International Daily Roundup. To know more about these stories, visit our website peoplesdispatch.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for watching.